All right, let's check out this City of the Wolves system guide. So REV system. So I'm guessing this REV system, this is probably what makes this game completely different from the original Mark of the Wolves. So from what I understand so far, the REV system is basically like the opposite of drive. Where in Street Fighter 6, you want to have as much drive as possible, but here REV, you want to have as little as possible. You start at 0. Right? So Street Fighter 6, you start at 6 individual of your your drive gauge. I mean, this isn't the drive gauge, but imagine it was. And every time you use like EX moves or use like system mechanics or like stuff happens in the game, I guess, this kind of builds up. And when you get to 100, then you get burnt out. And then, it's not burnt out, I can't remember what it's called. You get revved up, overheat. All right, so you get overheated. So rev actions can be used freely until the rev meter overheats. Oh, okay, so rev actions. So you lose. Okay, so it's kind of like, so it's exactly like Street Fighter 6. So you lose access to all of your like drive mechanics, which would be rev mechanics. So anything related to this bar, I guess OD, like EX moves or any kind of like system mechanics tied to this meter, you lose access to. So that's why you don't want to get overheated. It's going to take me a while to not say burnt out and say overheated. It's kind of funny how much of like an opposite of this game is a Street Fighter 6. So I think what SNK is trying to do here is do what they did with the original Mark of the Wolves, where it was kind of like SNK's answer to Third Strike, and this seems to be their answer to Street Fighter 6. Okay, SPGs. So this is the cool mode. This is gonna be fun. So this is the one where you can select what happens at certain health gauges. So if you guys haven't played the original Mark of the Wolves, what basically happens is you have a chunk of your health bar, right? 1/3 of your health bar. And whether you can choose to put this SPG at the beginning third of your health bar, the middle third of your health bar, or the final third of your health bar. And when you're in SPG, you get access to more damage. You get access to SPG only moves. Every character has one unique, I think at least one unique SPG move. And then I think you also get access to different supers too. But depending on where you put it is going to change the flow of the match. Do you want to be your strongest at the beginning, or do you want to save it for the middle when you're kind of like well balanced, or do you want to save it for the end when you're going to be getting an even higher damage boost and then, you know, do more damage, make better comebacks, have enough super meter to do like your super special ultra art and maybe make a complete comeback. However, it's not just like an offensive thing. You have to think of it defensively too. If you're kind of like putting it in the middle, for example, and your opponent puts it at the beginning and they do a really big combo to you, they might even be able to like take you down to your health like from before you're in SPG all the way till you're under. So they'll completely bypass your SPG. So depending on where you put it, you're gonna have to make different risk rewards. So it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be really fun to really mix and match, see which characters are better at different places. From what I understand, I think in the original Mark of the Wolves, middle or beginning tended to be like the meta, but who knows. So Rev blows. You get Rev blows. What is a Rev blow? So it's an armored attack. Boom. Hold on. Let's see how much gauge that took. Wait. So here, look at Terry's Rev gauge. He's at 0. Then he activates it. And I don't know if this crouching kick here is giving him 17% rev gauge, or using the rev blow is giving him rev gauge. I'm not quite sure which one. I'm going to assume using the rev blow is cranking up his rev gauge. But for only 17%, this seems really strong. Basically an armored special. And you can do them in the air too. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then I'm not sure if you guys noticed this. I know this from the original Garo. Counter hitting is such a huge thing in this game. So here, this lands as a counter hit, and you can get counter hits off everything. Normals, specials, supers, and like level 2 and like ultra supers. They all kind of affect how the opponent bounces and how they get hit. So even doing a counter hit with a special gives your special different properties on hit. So it's not like you always have to counter with normals. You can also do it with specials and supers too, which gives this game like a unique dynamic that isn't really around in any other game as far as I know. And Rev Arts. Rev Arts are EX moves, I think. Yeah. So Rev Arts are EX moves. So that's one thing you lose access to if you're not, when you're overheated. Then Rev XL, this is kind of like their unique combo system. So this is kind of a little bit like KOF 13, not really, but kind of. Basically, you can do one EX move into another EX move. But that's only when you're in your SPG mode. So you know this is going to create some crazy shit. Because you can do EX into EX. How much bar did that? How overheated? How rev did he get? How rev did Rock get during all this? 42? So 42, that would be just under half. So that's kind of like less expensive than using Drive Rush Cancel. So it doesn't seem, this game seems like fairly liberal in how you can use your gauge. Doesn't seem to cost as much as like Street Fighter 6. Yeah, just from looking at that, it looks like an EX move is 20% and canceling is another 20%. Okay, now this one, this Rev Guard, I think this is going to be huge for the balance because this wasn't in the original Garo, the original Mark of the Wolves. But any kind of like shielding attack usually ends up being like either really, really weak or really, really overpowered in most fighting games. So I'm really curious to see how they balance this. It negates chip damage. They also fill your rev meter more. Alright, so I guess what you could do is you could put your opponent into burnout if they're always using that shield by using a special. Then you're going to be super minus, but we'll see how the meta develops with that. There, that's the guard crusher we were talking about. So if you get put into overheat, aka burnout for Street Fighter 6, you'll get guard crush if you keep on blocking. Just defensive. This is going to be like the big thing you guys got to learn. This is totally different than pairing in Street Fighter 6. So this one is completely different. Like if you guys are used to Street Fighter 6, it doesn't even work kind of the same. There's no screen freeze. And you can't cancel your just defended move. Like you can't cancel from just defend into an attack. Going off how it worked in Mark of the Wolves. In Mark of the Wolves, I'm not sure what happens in this game, but it reduced the frame advantage of your opponent's attacks by 2 frames. So for example, if you blocked something normally and your opponent is +2, they'd just be 0 if you just defend. Not sure what's happening in City of the Wolves, but that's how it worked in the older game. Then, if you just defend, you can cancel your just defend into a special or a super, but you can't cancel it into normals. So you're going to have to know how to punish things. So if you're trying to punish jabs with a special, you're going to need a special that has like really fast startup. In the original Garo, I'm not sure if it works here. Let's say, so what you can do, just defend, you either have to tap back or like down back to do it. But let's say you have a DP motion. It's going to be really hard to go like back and then cancel your just defend into a DP kind of attack, like forward, down, down, forward. So what you can do, you can actually buffer in the special first. So you can input the DP, tap back for just defend, then push the attack button and your DP will still come out. Or even if you have like a Hadouken move, like, or they make a Tatsu, like a quarter circle back, you can do quarter circle back, tap back, hit like kick, and then your Tatsu will come out if you just defend. So not quite sure if that's going to work in City of the Wolves, but that's how it worked in Mark of the Wolves. So that'll be kind of cool. Yeah, you get health recovery, reduced rev meter increase, and the ability to perform a guard cancel. So they didn't mention frame data. So I'm guessing in this game it doesn't change the frame data on block. Yeah, see that's a guard cancel. So guard cancel is canceling your just defend into a special move or super. And then hyper defense. This is new. Alright, so hyper defense is basically like red parry from Street Fighter 3. From what I understand. If I'm wrong, my apologies, but that's what I understand. Can be deadly in the right hands. Boom. Yeah, see how you can cancel into a super? That's gonna be sick. And I think if you guys really hate Street Fighter 6 parry, you'll notice with this, there's no screen freeze. Like when you actually parry something, or just defend something, there's no real screen freeze. So if you're kind of like not good at reactions and like not good at fighting games, you're not gonna be able to do this. So you're fighting an opponent who doesn't really have reactions, not really good, they're not gonna be hitting you with this stuff. This takes skill. Not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. Street Fighter 6 really like reduced the execution barrier by making it like a screen freeze, but this doesn't have that. This game feels a lot more old school to me. This is their modern thing. I don't think this modern thing is supposed to be, what do you call it, competitively viable. From what I saw, it looks really weak. So, we'll see. We won't know until we actually try, but that's my initial impression. Then breaking. Arcade style only. Yeah, see, arcade style only. So the fact that so you can't break in their modern mode. So for you guys who don't like modern mode in Street Fighter 6, I think the smart or like modern mode in City of the Wolves is going to be a joke. Like, it's not competitively viable. Unless there's like a bug that makes it like incredibly broken, but you can't break. You can't do a system mechanic. That would be like in Street Fighter 6, you can't do like OD moves. right? So I think this game is not built for modern. I'll hold my comments on whether I think that's a good idea or a bad idea, but I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be strong. So breaking is when you like cancel the first couple of frames of a move. So let's say you do a DP. Like imagine Ryu, he has a Shoryuken. Imagine you do Shoryuken, then you hit 2 buttons, you break, and instead of him flying into the air, he just hits you and stops. And that'll make your moves less punishable or even sometimes plus on block. Or because you don't go flying into the air, you can continue a combo. So they're in a juggle state. You don't fly into the air with your DP. So you can use the beginning invulnerability frames of the DP animation to anti-air, break it, stay on the ground, then continue your combo. It's not FADC. FADC, you had to commit to forward movement. This, you're not committing to forward movement. This is, you're just canceling the move. Like, it's kind of FADC, kinda. Yeah, FADC you would have, I think FADC would always be negative on block though. I can't remember all the different versions of Street Fighter 4, but I don't think it was ever plus. Yeah, now I know in the original Garo, like the Mark of the Wolves, some of them were plus on block. I'm not sure about this one. Then Feinting is really good too, and Feinting's arcade style only too, yeah, so modern mode, smart mode is going to be a joke in this game. It's just for like casuals, like super casuals. So Feinting, it means like you do like the startup of the attack, but the attack doesn't come out, and it looks like some of your other attacks. I think every character has 1 or 2 feints, is basically how it works. And in the original Garo, feints, you could use them to make moves really plus. You could do like standing hard punch, feint, and you'd be plus. Or you could create like block strings. You could do like standing hard punch, feint, or like standing hard punch, walk in for a throw, because I think you're going to do standing hard punch, feint, standing hard punch. So you just do that, you feint, then you walk in and you throw or something. So you can make mix-ups with it. You also fake things out, so make it look like you're going to do a fireball. They jump, you don't do it, and you go. And then this too you can use for better combos. Wild Punish is basically their version of, what do you call it, punish counter? It's a whiff punish counter hit that gives you crazy frame advantage. Looks like you have enough time to run in and punish. Oh yeah, that's another thing. This game, the original Mark of the Wolves, tons of OTG combos. So there are a lot of times when you're going to do something like this, and then you can do an OTG super, or like an OTG special. So doing OTG pickups in this game is going to be a big thing. And then dodge attacks. Dodge attacks, I did a lot of reading on this. That combos, okay, so I think in the original Garo, you have 2 kind of dodge attacks. You can dodge lows, which is kind of like pushing medium punch and medium kick together in Street Fighter 3, and you can dodge highs. So any jump in attacks or any like high like standing hard punches, imagine like Ken's standing hard punch. You can do like a low guard, and it has upper body invulnerability. Again, I don't know how it's going to work in this game until I try it out, but if we just compare it to the original Garo Mark of the Wolves, basically if you think your opponent's going to do a low, you can do a low dodge and you can combo. I think how it worked in the original is that it was even minus on hit, but this one looks like if you get a counter hit, you get a combo. Whoops, I just skipped it way too much. Yeah, see, you get a combo. Then you can also use the upper body invulnerability frames to just dodge moves altogether. So if we look here really slow, this looks like Rock's standing D, his standing heavy kick. Then who is this? Hotaru, she does her high dodge, uses the invulnerability frames, her upper body invulnerability frames, and then it's an attack. So it's a dodge that follows up with an attack. So he gets a punish counter there, gets a full combo. Boom, that beats a low, that's a wild punish. So that means it's a punish counter, which means you can combo off of it. I didn't do a lot of damage though. And this ignition gear or red line gear, I have no idea what it is. Okay, so ignition gear is like your level 1 super. And red line gear is your level 2 super. And then hidden gear is like your super duper, it's like your critical art in Street Fighter 6. Is when you have to have 2 power gauge bars and be an SPG. And this is like your super duper ultra fantastic high damage super. And it does big damage and it restores your rev gauge to 0. So yeah, that's an overview of the system. They only showed basically what everything does. They didn't really talk about all the different ways that like throws and like counter hits actually like interact with each other. I'm going to be spending some time figuring out what happens when things interact on the same frame. Like what happens if a throw and an attack hit on the same frame and all that kind of stuff. How can you beat things? What's like the smart way to play this game? But I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I'm glad the cutscene super won't be every match this game. I agree. I agree. I'm tired of cutscene supers in every game. And to be fair, it's not just a Street Fighter 6 problem. It's like in every single game problem. Grand Blue has it. Tekken has it. Street Fighter 6 has it. It just the move into level 3 cinematic for like 10 seconds. I'm tired of it. But anyways, I'm gonna be streaming that 27 hours from now. I'm gonna be streaming that game. The beta is gonna be out by that time. Hope you guys watch it. Hope you look forward to it. I think the game looks really interesting. I can't wait to try. I'm gonna try out a bunch of characters. First, I'm gonna start with Vox just to see how it works. But I'm going to try out a bunch of characters during the beta. You guys can ask me to test things. We can test together. We can try. It'll be fun learning a new game together. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. That's going to be it for me today. And I'll see you guys in like 27 hours for City of the Wolves beta. Hope to see you guys there. Anyways, take it easy, guys. Peace.